but that was when your husband performing, I really missed that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Was that planned or was that impromptu?
Oh, it's totally impromptu.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we looked up and before we knew it, he was on stage. We're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
This is great. You love that's art, right? That's what art is about.
Yeah.
Okay, all, we are live on
Good.
YouTube.
Good. The meeting will come to order. The time is 5:30 p.m. on Monday, July 21st, 2025. This is a regular monthly meeting of the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. My name is Reggie Van Lee, Chairman of the Commission on the Arts and Humanities. I'm an African American man wearing a white shirt. I will now call the roll. When you hear your name, please answer present. Commissioner Sims,
Present.
Commissioner Havamana,
Present.
Commissioner Masters Berry, Commissioner Butler, Commissioner
Present.
Ward. I'm sorry, Butler?
Present.
Great. Commissioner Warden,
Present.
Commissioner Torres,
Present.
Commissioner Kim, Commissioner Brienza, Commissioner Minkiti, Commissioner O'Neill,
Present.
Commissioner Stedman.
Present.
A quorum is present. I'll now ask our Vice Chairman, Commissioner Warden, to preside over the meeting as I am in a terrible Wi-Fi location and don't want to disrupt the meeting. I'm here in the meeting, but I'm asking Commissioner Warden to preside. So Gretchen, would you proceed, please?
Sure. Thank you, Reggie. First of all, let me apologize to everyone because it appears as though my image is upside down and I haven't quite figured out how to change it. So my apologies for that. A quorum is present. This is a meeting of a public body held in open session and governed by the Open Meetings Act. Please address any questions or complaints arising under this meeting to the Office of Open Government at opengovoffice@dc.gov. Notice of the meeting was posted in the DC Register on the Commission's website, dcarts.dc.gov, and on the DC Office of Open Government, Central Meetings calendar at open-dc.gov. The meeting is being conducted in a virtual format with commissioners joining remotely using the Zoom meeting platform. The meeting is being live streamed to the Commission's YouTube channel. An electronic recording of the meeting will be available for viewing online following the conclusion of this meeting. Are there any objections to the agenda and the meetings that were previously circulated? Hearing no objection, the agenda for the meeting and the minutes from the previous meeting stand as adopted. Are there any voting items? Okay, hearing none, we shall proceed to the land acknowledgement. I will now read the land acknowledgement. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed to their hopes, dreams, and energy to make the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave the distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We stand on the ancestral lands of the CAH and the Piscataway people. We pay respects to their elders past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths that at any and all public events and to use such truths to guide the legacy of this Arts Commission. Okay, my official good evening and welcome to everyone. A Black female. I have on a white blouse and I'm wearing black glasses. And as you can see, I am upside down. We'll try to fix that by the next time. Tonight we have two grantee highlights. We'll be hearing from Shanara Gabrielle of Theater Alliance and Karen Lang representing District Fringe. Are either of them on?
Yeah, this is Shanara. I'm here.
Hi, Shanara.
I'm here.
Great. Shanara, would you like to start?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. Hey, everybody. I am so glad to be with you tonight. Thanks for having us. I'm so happy to talk about Theater Alliance. I just sent a request to share screen. That's possible.
Did you Did you receive it, or do I need to
Here we
make a
go.
call?
I got it. There we go.
There you go.
Great. I'm so happy to share with you a little bit tonight about Theater Alliance. Theater Alliance is a nearly 25-year-old organization here in Washington, D.C. We do socially conscious, thought-provoking work. We have, for over 2 decades, been instigating neighborhood and cultivating community here in Washington, D.C. We're dedicated to supporting local artists, and we're so grateful for the commission's support for us over the years. There are only a few things that I need to really make sure that you know about Theater Alliance tonight. Our history is too rich for me to share everything, but first I will say that we create socially conscious, thought-provoking work. We hire local artists. We are a mid-size arts organization that makes it possible for DC to have a rich arts ecosystem. We're like the small business of the arts world, right? We need small businesses to make the ecosystem of DC survive, and that is true in the arts as well. Number two, we're really dedicated to doing artistically excellent work. From our 111 Helen Hayes nominations to our membership in the National New Play Network, to our work on the stages and being a finalist for the Mayor's Arts Award twice, we know that our work speaks for itself, highlighting undertold stories by underrepresented voices. Number three is the thing that I think is the most undertold piece of Theater Alliance, and that is that we have always been an instigator of community. From our early days in our first decade on H Street East, before the H Street corridor existed, at the H Street Playhouse, leading the investment of early adopters of that neighborhood, to our decade in Anacostia, when we led the way for it being named the Mayor's Arts and Culture District, to our most recent home in Southwest. We invest in neighborhood and we create community. Integrity, diversity, and excellence are at the core of what we do. We believe that the arts are crucial for a thriving society. On the screen right now, this is a picture of the Bluest Eye in our most recent production of the Bluest Eye, which has been at Theater Alliance more than once, but one of the things that we're most proud of. We produce a 4-show main stage season. We develop new work, and we serve our community with civic engagement programs, including Enough Plays to End Gun Violence, our primary playwriting and education program for 13 to 19-year-olds in the district. This slide always gives me a little bit of pause because it has so many of DC's great artists in it. You can see many both individual artist grantees and many of the artists that we're so proud to have launched their careers at Theater Alliance. We're led by a diverse team of board of directors and a diverse team of staff. I'm going to stop sharing to share with you some of the most exciting recent news for Theater Alliance. We have been for the last year using Mayor Bowser's pop-up permitting program and collaborating with Hoffman Associates and the Department of Buildings to activate a vacant 9,000 square foot cement box in Southwest DC. After we lost our space in Anacostia due to no fault of our own, we worked our butts off to find a new place, and we're so grateful to have the opportunity for this activation program that Mayor Bowser created. And we've used that pop-up permit for the last 9 months. We mounted a full show, a full season there, serving 3,000 patrons, employing over 100 local DC artists. And we're very excited that we now have the opportunity to turn that space into our long-term home, creating a 140-seat black box as well as a 60-seat proscenium space. This will not just be a home for Theater Alliance, but will be an arts hub for multidisciplinary organizations in the community. We couldn't do that without the continued support of the commission. We're so grateful to be in DC. We think it's one of the best arts towns in the country. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Also, Shannara, I'm very familiar with Theater Alliance, and you've done some great work that I'm familiar with and have attended a number of the performances over the years. So thank you so much for the presentation. And
Thank you.
I'm sure everyone here agrees with me that it's a wonderful organization. Thanks again. Okay, do we have Karen Lang on board? There you
Yes,
are.
hello.
Okay.
I am
Let's see, spotlighted your video. Okay, if you can hear me.
Yes,
My name is Karen Lang. If we're describing ourselves, I am a white lady with a dark blue shirt on. And I want to thank you for inviting my friend Edward Daniels, who is an ANC commissioner over at the Waterfront District, invited me to talk a little bit about District Fringe, our brand new festival that is taking place in Van Ness. There are three leaders of small theaters that put together this festival. Myself, I have a small theater called Pinky Swear Productions. Our second leader is Aubrey O'Connor, and she has a company called New Sass. And our third leader is Tracy Erbacher, who is the co-artistic director of Theater Prometheus. We were longtime producers in the Capital Fringe Festival. And when we found out that the Capital Fringe Festival had switched gears to their granting program rather than producing a festival in the summer, we were really devastated because of the loss of opportunity for our emerging artists who were trying their hand at producing for the first time wouldn't have the opportunity to do that anymore. So we decided we were just going to plan it in 3 months and put it up. And the stars aligned, and Van Ness Main Street Citizens Association and one of their ANC members, Adrian Iglesias, contacted us and hooked us up with University of District of Columbia. So we've gotten together, when we talk about community, we have gotten together a bunch of small theater leaders, including what's interesting is that on this call, I see that there's Mark Chalfant from WIT and also Shannara. One of her staffers actually works with us. So Samba Patek is on our team. So when you talk about community, we are actually bringing together the community of a number of small to mid-sized theaters and creating these opportunities for new artists to pave the way for the next generation of DC theater. New Sass is our fiscal umbrella this year, and one of the ways that they've been able to work with the festival is through their DCCAH grant, for which we are profoundly grateful. What we hope to do in the future is to deepen our relationship with UDC and Van Ness Main Street to help alleviate the problem that was plaguing Capital Fringe in finding space. We've been embraced by the community, and we would love to deepen that relationship and make a permanent home for these artists, and also really embed ourselves in, as a part of the neighborhoods of DC. So bringing something that can be predictable, summer after summer, and provide. I mean, we've sold thousands of tickets at this point. We have over 100 different artists working on shows in every capacity. We have a small staff of people running the house management and wayfinding. We've managed to provide jobs. We've managed to provide traffic and partnerships with local businesses. And I think that aspect of it is what's going to keep this as something that stays alive and lively over the years, is that we're not just about bringing the arts in and leaving. We're about bringing the arts in and creating something exciting to happen every summer.
sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Sounds very, very exciting.
Thank you. Come see us. We have one weekend left.
I know. I have the schedule. Julianne sends us the schedules.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to present to us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, moving on to public comment portion. We have Mark Chalfant. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi,
There you
my
are.
name. Oh, yep. My name is Mark Chalfant. I'm the artistic and executive director at Washington Improv Theater. I'm a white man in a black t-shirt, wearing glasses, and my video image is right side up. So I just wanted to come and give a little bit of an update on what WIT is doing. We've been around DC for 27 years now, teaching classes, doing performances and doing corporate training, all based on improv, all based on the idea that everyone has something to gain by improvising and everyone has something to contribute in the craft of improv. We need a home right now. We were one of the first organizations at Flashpoint down in Gallery Place when that facility opened. Then we moved to Source. We were essentially evicted from Source back in 2022, and Studio Theater graciously welcomed us at their home to begin an artistic residency. We have been looking for a dedicated space for our own craft for 10 years. And we have finally found one. It is a commercial space in Noma on 3rd Street Northeast. If you know where the REI is, it's just a little bit up from there. And I wanted to give the commission just a quick sneak peek at that space, if I am allowed. So you should be seeing an image now, yes?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So
Yep.
This is a rendering of the storefront space from the sidewalk. On the left will be a marquee, an open window into the bar cafe that's at the very front of the space. The theater is back down this corridor on the left. Under the marquee, you go straight all the way back, and then there's a 110-seat theater in the back there. On the right here, you see a separate entrance, which goes downstairs to the lower level with what we're calling our creative layer. There will be 7 classroom spaces down there, as well as a green room space for artists before shows. This is another rendering of that same facade, just from a different angle. And this way you can see into the main entrance on the left here, and you're actually seeing into the sound and light well that takes you into the theater space. There's a rendering now of inside the black box. Like I said, it's about 110 seats, a very cozy space, an intimate performance space for improv. It'll be set up black box style, so these risers that you see here will be flexible and removable. So if we need to move them out or rearrange them, we can do that. There's a 3D rendering here of the floor plan, so you can see at the bottom, you've got the entry and the bar and the cafe. You've got the hallway that leads back here to the restrooms, and then the theater space here. And then there's another version of that. For the lower level here, you can see the 7 classrooms, the green room, and this large circulation lobby space. We believe that the downstairs can also serve as an important convening space for the community, and also a secondary performance space if there are performances that are looking for more of a loungy cabaret kind of vibe that doesn't really need a formal raised seatings. And then this is a final rendering of what that downstairs circulation space will look like, with a small pantry area so that refreshments and people can get drinks and food before classes. And that's it. I'm going to stop sharing now. WIT is it's a really grassroots organization. So because improv isn't really a legacy craft in the world of theater, it's only about 50 years old. We don't quite have the sort of legacy roots in the donor community that organizations that deal with orchestral music and Shakespeare theater have. So for us, a major donor is, somebody who maybe gives $200. That's pretty major for us because our craft is really for everyone. And because of that, we really rely on public funding. The commission's support for over 20 years has been pivotal for Washington Improv Theater. At several points in our history, the commission's support has allowed us to really step up and build capacity and expand what we're able to do in the community. And I think that the large capital grant program is a great example of how that can happen again. I wanted to write just to point out to the commission that as it stands right now, there are some strange things in that large capital grant program. One of the requirements is that an organization working in a leased space obtain a lease of 30 years. That's a tough thing to do with some landlords. And I just wanted to point that out, that it's something that really should be looked at in terms of whether it's creating equity that we want for arts organizations who are seeking this kind of funding. The other sort of small requirement there is that only 7 of those 30 years need to be in the future. So there's sort of a strange disconnect there. If having only 8 years in the future on our lease is enough to obtain funding, then why must the entire lease be 30 years long? So I just wanted to point that out. We will be approaching for that fund. We are big believers in public funding, in the panel-led process that the commission has championed. We really value your work. And so we're always telling the council and powers that be to please let that process run its course. It's, I think, the closest we can get to a fair competition for those funds. And I know that there's always more people who need money than there is money to go around. Anyway, I submitted written testimony, so feel free to look at that. And yeah, I'll leave room for questions.
Just a question. What's the time frame on the build out and opening?
So we're in the design process right now, and if things go well, we would be opening in about a year's time.
A year. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And I'm going to do something a little different here. I think Shannara had a question or a comment to piggyback on your comment about the legislation and the 30-year lease.
Yeah, Shannara and I have talked, so I value her input.
Thank you so much. I only touched briefly on the theater land space, but Mark and I have been in great collaboration. The other thing I just want everyone to know is that the 30-year lease requirement also incurs a transfer tax, which is a bit of a punishment to the lessee in that circumstance. So I think that's just another piece that should be looked at by the commission, that the leasee, once you get to a 30-year lease, you then have a 10% transfer tax that's applied for the entire length of the lease. Thank you.
For the 30 years. Wow.
For the 30 years, yes.
Okay, great.
Can I step in here? Apologies.
Yeah.
Sorry, the internet is behaving so far, so I can talk. But it is our process not to engage in a lot of conversation around the comments are taken, and we sort of digest them and react as appropriate later. But you should know that this 30-year issue is something we are looking at. We are aware of the challenges there and can't commit to if it'll be changed or not, but we are looking at that. So thank you, Gretchen.
Okay. Sure. Thanks, Shannara. Thanks, Mark. Okay, we'll now move on to the rest of the agenda, and we'll have Executive Director Aaron Myers present his report.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Myers, African-American male, bald and balding with a white shirt on. We're going to start with a council update. I would like to begin. Actually, before I do this, I want to thank the staff that did come out on Saturday in support of the family of Ron, our registrar, and I think Commissioner Wharton was present as well. I think it was very well received by his husband and by his father, and it was good to see our commission out in full force in support of our dear colleague who we lost about a month ago now. Start with some of the council updates. I'd like to begin director reports by updating commissioners and the public on the council's final vote on the budget. As I reported at the executive committee meeting, over the past month, the agency has navigated both the impacts of the OIG's report and the committee on the whole's discussion surrounding our grant-making process and impact. I'm happy to share that on June 12th, the agency circulated a communication to members of the council and staff which detailed several points around CAH's FY26 budget. The council is set to have its final vote on July 28th. Summarily, we stand to lose 5.1% of our budget from our FY25 appropriation. Further, we stand to lose our fund balance. What this means is that we're no longer able to maintain funds within the agency as far as non-lapsing funds. In additional funds or savings get swept back into the city administrator's office at the end of the year, or the general fund, as we would say. Also, this does not take into account any pause resulting from congressional actions. As such, federal support from the NEA remains steady with an increase of matching funds, which is $25,000 to focus on America 250. Given the actions of the NEA over the last 6 months and the likely loss of our fund balance, we must steward the resources that we have wisely in order to effectively navigate any changes that are presented from our local or federal partners and stakeholders. Again, all grants will be awarded fairly and equitably. And just to piggyback on that real quickly, so we know the vote will happen the 28th. That means any decision around us not maintaining a fund balance or things of that nature, that decision will be made by the council. So regardless of what the council does, we will do our best to be as fair and equitable with our resources. As far as DCHR is concerned, in response to the staff retreat, DCHR has undertaken interviews of staff referred to as desk audits. The purpose of these audits is to make determinations of fact as to whether staff are both properly positioned and compensated by grade and step. DCHR is nearing the agency-wide desk audit process, and our goal to have them completed by July 18th has been extended by a few days to complete conversations with our managers and a few more staff members. More details are to follow. I want to be clear with this. I spoke with a commissioner too. This is just not a space for people to get raises. We're looking to ensure that the jobs that agencies asking the staff to do, they are properly positioned as far as in their grade and in their step. And then money's attached with that. So we've never done that before at the agency. This is the first time. So this is our first time in right sizing things. Grant making updates. As previously stated, July 1st was the cutoff for those who did not submit all necessary paperwork to receive their award. I'm considering moving this up to May 1st in the next fiscal year. Accordingly, we are in the midst of grant making process and in the panel portion of that process. We will have over 90 panels to help determine the FY26 awardees, with close to 2,000 applications for grants and public art, both of which you will hear from later on in the meeting. I think that deserves a round of applause to see that we've had over 2,000 applications come to us. That means that we are out there in the public as we should. Words on Fire. Words on Fire Poetry Festival is taking place on Saturday, August 9th at 200 I Street Southeast. That's our building, our location. The day will consist of 5 mini creative writing, spoken, and written word workshops, interactive activities, and will conclude with an open mic. The intended population is DCPS and DCPS 8th through 12th grade students. Questions concerning participation can be redirected to Arts Learning Coordinator Andrea Brown. That's andrea.brown3@dc.gov. That's andrea.brown3@dc.gov, or Arts Learning Specialist Mauricio Pita, mauricio.pita@dc.gov. Right? Last, we're going to be talking about our Queer Arts Salon closing. The Queer Arts Salon exhibition in the 200 I Street Gallery will close August 1st. I think that means it's next week. An opening reception was held on Friday, June 12th, and public panel discussions were held on Saturday, June 28th, and on Wednesday, July 16th. A closing reception and talk will be held on Thursday, July 31st from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The agency will also be preparing for the DC Art Now opening on, take this in, Thursday, September 11th. And this is a little bit earlier than when we usually do this because they've moved Art All Night up this year. So it's time to be in conjunction with the events around Art All Night. So usually Art All Night is the last weekend or so in September. But in this year, the last week of September, DC will be the host city for Coda Works, which is the intersection of public art and technology. That concludes my report. If you have any questions, I'm open and free to answer them.
Thank you, Aaron. Any questions?
Gretchen, I will just add that Commissioner Kim has joined the call since the roll call. I want to make sure the record shows
Yeah.
she's has been present for a while.
Yeah, I see. Okay, speaking of Commissioner Kim, we will now go to the Chair of the Finance Committee, our treasurer.
You're on mute, Janice.
Sorry about that. Computers are very confusing for me. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janice Kim. I'm an Asian woman with short dark hair, and today I'm wearing blue and white striped jacket. I'd like to briefly update you on our recent Finance Committee meeting that we had last Friday, and overall the numbers were where they should be. There haven't been many changes, especially regarding grants. Those numbers are continuing to go out to grantees as planned. And now I want to pass this over to Brandon. Brandon? Martine?
I think we're advancing. Brandon needs to be
I'm-
advanced. There he is.
Okay, there
I'm
you
here.
go.
I was added late. That's all. Hi, I'm Brandon Saunders. I'm sure if I'm on the video. If I am, I'm wearing a mint green polo, and I'm happy to join y'all this evening. I think Janice did a pretty good introduction in terms of what we discussed and what were the macro level results. So I'll dive into the details. Next slide, please. So here is just our split between the admin and the grant side of the budget overall. I'd like to point out that we are in the first month of the final quarter of the year, so we're starting to really spend down on what has been approved in our waivers overall. And we're, as Janice as alluded to earlier, we're right on pace with everything. Next slide, please. And so for this slide here is just a further breakdown of the administrative side of the budget, going into our main categories. I highlighted at the top, personnel services, which accounts for the majority of the remaining budget. You know, luckily we're still getting paid and having benefits and so forth through this period. Facetiously aside, there's also some other categories there in relations to the contractual services, other services and charges, which is a myriad of categories consolidated underneath that, as well as equipment and security. Next slide, please. And then here is just a further breakdown of those said categories overall. One thing that I wanted to highlight more specifically were the second column that's the title budget reservations. This is essentially from those categories overall. Now our OCFO did more of a generic sweep, but the bottom number is very indicative of the total amount of money that was reduced from our budget for this fiscal year, remaining part of the fiscal year. And then we can go to the last slide. And then finally, here's just a further breakdown of the grant side of the budget overall. Relatively, we did really well with expending dollars for the year, and I think that we have some more just methodology, some more just plans to make it even more so efficient next year. We're excited about that. And with that said, I think I don't have any much more to share, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
I'd like
Go
to
ahead,
add
Janice.
something. If any additional information is needed, I'd like to extend an invitation to all the commissioners to join our next Finance Committee meeting in August. This will give everyone a chance to go over in greater detail and ensure full clarity in moving forward. And also want to just thank the finance team for their transparency and effort in keeping us aligned. Let's continue to work collaboratively to ensure our financial reporting remains accurate and timely. Thank you.
And could I add one more caveat to that? So I would ask that any questions or concerns that commissioners have to submit those questions well in advance so that the team has a chance to respond in the Finance Committee and not just bring it to the Finance Committee. So if you have questions and concerns, submit those at least a week in advance, and then I think the team can be best prepared to address them. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Brandon.
Appreciate it. Thank
Okay.
y'all.
Okay, moving along to the grants report, and we're going to have our senior grants officer, Terrell Johnson, present.
Hello, everyone. My name's Terrell Johnson. I am a African-American male. I am wearing a old gold shirt with black hair and dark brown eyes. The grant committee has been super busy. So we went from our spring paneling thing right into our summer. So I want to give you some quick updates and give you some numbers so you can see how we are tracking this year so far. Right off the back, should have been FY26 summer grants closed on Thursday, 6/26 at 10 p.m. Our FY26 Arts and Humanities Education Project, AHEP, Arts and Humanities Fellowship Program, AHFP, Field Trip Experience, FTE, and Capital Projects will start summer panels on Tuesday, 7/29. So they'll start July 29th and they will go until mid-August. So we are busy for the next few weeks. We had a record number of applications this year. So this year, the grant teams will convene a total of 79 panels, making up a total applicant pool of 1,551 applicants. This is about a 12% increase over last year. We've seen a pretty good jump in spaces like our AHEP and our PEF-I grants jumped up pretty well. Everything else stayed on track or a few more than last year. We are still looking for review panelists. So with doing 79 panels, that's a lot of panelists that we need. So again, help shape the future of the arts and humanities in DC by serving on a CAH grant review panel. We're seeking passionate individuals with expertise in the arts and humanities to evaluate grant applications. Learn more and apply to be a panelist at dcarts.dc.gov. If you have any additional questions, please contact Kayla Williams at Kayla.Williams@dc.gov. So please take a look at our website. Be prepared to also update your resume. It could be your work resume or your artistic resume. FY26 grant panels underway. The grant team has completed reviewing applicants for the following FY26 programs. GOS, we had 10 panels, 247 applicants.
Excuse me, can we scroll up, please? Can we scroll? Thank you. Go ahead.
East Arts, which had 2 panels and 43 applicants. Project Events and Festivals, organizations and individuals had a total of 12 panels. 58 applicants were for organizations, 187 applicants as individuals. And that's a pretty big jump over what we had last year. Currently, the grants team have started reviewing applications for the following FY26 programs. Arts and Humanities Fellowship Grant. It looks right now we're going to have about 43 panels with 833 applications. Capital Projects, right now we have 6 panels and about 89 applicants. Field Trip Experiences, we're having 2 panels with 31 applicants. And then which is a rise from last year as well. And then the Arts and Humanities Education Project, AHEP, is going to have 4 panels with 63 applicants. Again, a significant rise over last year. Stay tuned. Our FY27 grants revamp meeting is scheduled for Friday, November 21st. If you have any suggestions on ways to enhance the grant process, please send all suggestions to Carrie Kaliba at Carrie, KERRY.Kaliba@dc.gov. And if any of the other commissioners would like to join the grant revamp, let me know. I'll be happy to send an invite out to you as well. And that's my report.
Thanks, Terrell. Seems like the grants team is having a super busy summer. No summer vacation for you guys, but we appreciate everything you do. You do this every year, every summer. And I'm just really appreciative of the entire grants team because it's a lot of work and a lot of time. So thank you so much. Okay, public art.
Thank you, Gretchen. My name
Where
is
are you?
I'm
Hi,
here.
Carla. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
I'm an African American woman with hair in a bun, wearing a green blouse. So the public arts staff has also been doing a lot of work this summer, and they continue to do the great work that that they've initiated. And so at this point, I'm going to have the manager, public arts manager, Corinne Miller, give the report.
Hi, everyone. I'm Corinne Miller. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the public arts manager here at the commission. And I'm a white woman with brown hair wearing a green shirt and glasses. So thank you, Commissioner Sims. So the Public Art Committee did not meet in July, but the Public Arts Department did prepare a report that was shared with the PAC, which I can review quickly this evening. So as Director Myers mentioned, Celebration of Life was held just this last Saturday for our dear colleague, Ron Humbardson, who passed away in May. He was a really devoted part of our team, and we'll continue to miss him for a long, long time. Our work in the Public Arts Department, I can give an overview of. So we are in deep with panels. So the Public Art team began paneling several grant lines starting this month. Right now we're paneling Art Bank, and soon to come will be Public Art Building Communities and the Art Exhibition Curatorial Grant Program as well. We always welcome commissioners to serve as conveners if anyone is interested in that. The Public Art team also continues to work with the Office of the Chief Technology Officer to create a digital interactive GIS map of the public art collection. So a production schedule has been created for that, targeting an early 2026 launch of the map is what we're looking at right now. And then the public art team is also working on a one-year public art plan to guide our FY26 efforts, and we plan to present a draft of that in the coming months for review and input. I'll also mention a couple program-specific updates. So the Public Art Building Communities Grant Program is open for just a couple more hours. So it closes tonight, Monday, July 21st, I believe at 9 p.m. So hopefully folks are submitting their applications to that vibrant program. The Art Exhibition Curatorial Grant Program closed in late June. On June 30th, we had 12 submissions. So that grant line will submit 2 of our exhibitions that will happen in the gallery, one under a social justice theme and then the second under an open theme. So right now we're reviewing those for eligibility, and they'll be sent to panel later this month or early next month. And then Director Myers mentioned the continued work around the Queer Art Salon exhibition with our grantees Ashley J. Williams and Abby Allison McLean. They held a successful opening reception back in July that was part of World Pride, and they continue to have a robust slate of public programs. So on Saturday, June 28th, from 2 to 4, there was a panel discussion centering Black queer artists that was held in the gallery. Just last week on Wednesday, July 16th, there was a trans artist talk that was held. And then if you haven't seen it yet or caught any of the public programs, the closing community conversation and reception will be held on Thursday, July 31st from 6 to 7:30 p.m. So we hope to see folks there. Our Color the Curb school safety program, the grantees have completed their student engagement activities, and they're working on their designs with anticipated installations for those projects in the coming months. I'll mention our arts collections management. So the public art team currently has 22 open requests for artwork. So it's a program that continues to be in high demand. Work was recently installed in the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Administration offices. And then the first works from the FY25 cycle have come back from framing, and they're starting to go into circulation now, which is very exciting. The first piece to go into circulation is a piece entitled Black Maternal Health Flag by artist Lex Marie, and that went into Councilmember Henderson's office. So it's exciting to see these go out in the world. We also have 2 works on loan from the collection in the Before the Americas exhibition that'll be taking place at George Mason's gallery, and that opens at the end of August. And then finally, I'll touch a little bit more detail on the Art Bank program. So the Art Bank applications are currently under review. We have 5 different panel groups. Each panel has 5 to 6 panelists. So we have 323 total eligible applications. I think this, as far as I know, is the most that we've ever had for this program. so it remains in high demand. So the first round, they review everything virtually, and then the second round takes place in person with artworks being brought into the gallery space for review. And then as Director Myers mentioned, many of the finalists are exhibited in our DC Art Now exhibition that'll open September 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. And that's all I have, unless folks have questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Corinne.
Questions, anyone? Thanks, Corinne. Great job. Okay, there are no reports this month from arts education or governance. So now I'd like to call on the chair of, the chair of the Community Advisory Committee. Where are you? Oops.
There I am. Hi, how are you,
You
everybody?
are, okay. Had to scroll over to find you.
Oh, no worries. Good evening, everybody. My name is Cecily Habimana. I am a Black woman wearing white glasses and a turquoise sweater, and I have a 1-year-old roaming around. So if you hear some noise in the background, it's probably her. We are excited to share the work of our new Community Advisory Committee. This new committee will focus on continuing the agency's charge to promote cross-cultural understanding and appreciation of local history in all district neighborhoods. Our work will center on the pillars of culture and community, along with the expansion of the arts and humanities across all wards. With that in mind, our cultural architect and people relations specialist, Grace Allen, will walk us through our committee report for this month. Grace, you there?
Here. Hi, everyone. I'm Grace Allen. I'm a Black American woman with black hair, red lipstick, and a cream colored top. I'm so excited to walk you through the work that we've been doing. So first, we'll talk about community. You can go to the next slide. We're going to talk about our community timeline and some of the work that we've done. So within this space, we have a number of things that have happened throughout the month and so the close of last year and then leading into this year, I was able to convene with all of our staff and have one-on-ones to fully assess what our current community engagement is, and then to expand and plan out how we can continue the work. We were able to connect with communications, events, and outreach to assess their additional needs and ways we can support them as we reach the communities that we currently have, as well as expanding into even further communities. I know when I first started, I said I wanted to make sure our work touches all the shadows of the district as well. So we were able to connect in that way and continue those efforts. We also conducted a community-centered all-staff training, which also included our executive leadership. It was engaging. We were able to get a lot of feedback from that training and continue to ground us on the work of culture and community. We also partnered with DC agencies to promote our grants and our panelists. I know that Terrell mentioned that we had a number of higher grant applicants this year. We also had an increase in our panelists. So it sounds like the work is working. However, we will continue to promote our panelists so that we can continue to cover that important work. And then we were able to facilitate a panelist and moderator training. As we bring in new panelists, we want to make sure everyone's aware of the work, that we're operating from spaces that combat bias and things of that nature. And then we're able to provide resources not only to the managers who will train the panelists, but also for the panelists themselves. And then we're able to complete the 44 recommendations, which help lay the foundation for this expanded work within our Community Advisory Committee. And we were able to establish a one-of-a-kind Go-Go Summer Series, which is something that I'm so excited. So many of our staff and our leadership and our commissioners have joined us. We hope that even more community members will join us. We've seen so much support throughout DC government, even spotlights in that sense. So that's really exciting work. And we were able to hold our first committee meeting. The committee was established in June, so we were able to hold our first meeting in July and welcome new members. As always, we're happy to have more members. So all of our Cecily's fellow commissioners, we welcome you to our meetings and to our space. So with that in mind, we'll continue. Just a few highlights with community-centered focused work. We were able to produce community events that gathered just over 8,000 individual engagement activities with individuals that are coming to see us and hear about our grants and show up to our spaces, and that will continue. We, as I mentioned, gained some really positive attention. People broadcast live from Fox 5 from some of our events, and we had a number of government officials show up for previously underrepresented wards. So we're really excited about that. And as we're expanding our reach, we were able to not only reach go-go artists, but also encourage them to come and to see us and support us and to apply for the resources that they need. And so we saw a definite uptick in the completion of those submissions, which is exciting. And we were able to utilize our engagement tools centering around community to restore some of those conversations and some of those fractures that have been in place in previous years. So we're really excited to see that the work is happening and the community is impacted in a positive way. So then next we'll talk about our cultural timeline. When it comes to our culture, we're just as focused as ever. So we'll talk through some of the things that we've been doing. We were able to hire a dedicated staff member, me, and focus on the work here, which is really exciting. I was able to hit the ground running and curate a multi-year agent-wide or agency-wide culture forward plan. And I was able to present that in my first 90 days. So excited about that. In January, we not only have the training, we also conducted a cultural review and assessment so we could have a pulse check and kind of report of where we are and where we can grow. And then we're able to offer continued education across our staff and leadership. I was also able to connect with a number of our previous leaders to help to build the data so that we can make sure we're reaching the individuals that have been historically underrepresented, but also that we're expanding our reach so that no matter where you are as a part of this DC culture, you're able to know we're here for you. If you're an artist, if you're a musician, things of that nature, we want to support you. And then we were able to continue the work by producing the go-go meet and greet, which helped us to reach a specific community and touch those individuals in a way that inspired the series and encouraged their work and encouraged them to respond to the agency and submit new grant applications. We're able to launch a demographic survey, again, building that data that will help us to support the communities we're already reaching and then see where we can fill in the gaps for those that we've yet to reach. And recently we're able to conduct a cultural training with our staff and provide resources on that. It was really engaging. We were able to hold this one in a virtual space, so it was even more accessible. Excited to do more in person in the days to come. And we were able to revisit our plan. We have an action plan, an ongoing plan with the Office of Racial Equity. And so we're working with them in a number of things and so excited to continue that. And then in a similar sense, just to highlight some of the cultural activities that we've had, we were able to reallocate that cultural workload into a centralized department. Instead of piecing things out among staff, we're able to centralize it so that we can truly address and attack the issues. We were able to facilitate some record-breaking and accessible trainings to our applicants and our grantees, getting the word out, preparing them in real time to present those applications so that they could reach completion and hopefully become a grantee, which is exciting. And then because of the work connecting with DC Gov and updating the panelist survey, we're able to attract even more new and diverse expand pools of panelists. But we won't stop there. We will continue to welcome even more panelists. If you're interested, I know it was already echoed in our grants team, but I want to amplify it as well. Please do apply. Please come to our website. We would love to have your expertise. And we were able to support a number of BIPOC CBEs across DC, minority-owned businesses as well, and connect them to government services and resources, which is really crucial. We want to make sure that we're opening the gate and allowing individuals to connect to government and to connect to our agency. And so with that in mind, thank you so much. If you have questions, if you want to know more about our work, if you want to be a part of some of the events we have going on, reach out to me. I'm happy to connect with the community and see how we can continue to expand the work.
All right, thank you, Grace. Any questions? Okay, hearing no questions, is there any unfinished business that we have? Hearing none, we'll proceed to new business. Is there any new business? Anyone want to bring up anything new that we haven't discussed or that we need to discuss? This is a quiet group this afternoon. Okay, hearing none, there being no further business, that concludes our meeting for today. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Appreciate all the work that everyone has done and appreciate the input that we've gotten from our guest presenters. And we will adjourn the meeting tonight at 6:25 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.